Why does God allow suffering? It's a question from our pain, from the tragedy of losing people we love, to the horrors of war and pandemics and cancer and depression. So why does God allow suffering? If God is good, it seems logical that he shouldn't allow suffering. But there is suffering, so God must be a monster. Or perhaps God is just not there, or perhaps he's puny. He's not able to stop suffering, which means he's inconsequential. The problem with suffering, of course, is that it's personal. We feel the pain. And that's the key to understanding why there is suffering. Suffering is personal. It's caused by people. Not all suffering, of course, but a lot of it. Sometimes we cause our own suffering, like when a person gets drunk and crashes their car into a tree. That's not God's fault. Or if someone starts a war and people get hurt, then they caused that suffering, not God. Most suffering comes through people. There's, of course, some suffering that's not personal, like when a tornado strikes or a miscarriage happens, but for the most part, suffering is caused by people. Rich don't care for the poor. There's more than enough money in the world. It's just owned by a very few who won't share it. The powerful, they start wars. People do corrupt things. Men abuse women. Relationships break up when humans are selfish. Parents hurt their children by their failures. Even children aren't always so innocent. School playgrounds are full of bullies. Little children shout out, "Mine." So why does God allow it? Well, if God were to stop the suffering that's caused by people, then he'd have to stop those people. And if I've caused suffering, then if God removed suffering, he'd have to remove me. Instead of doing that, the good God has come up with a much better solution. He personally came to fix the suffering. He entered the world, he put on human skin, allowed us to kill him on a cross, and then rose again to prove that he is really in control of death. And now he calls us to come back to him, because we are far from him. At some point in the future, he will end suffering. So why does God allow suffering now? Because he's waiting for you to come back to him. Open a Bible. Read what he's done for you. In it, you'll find an amazing God. Start with a section called Mark. In it, you'll meet Jesus. You won't be sorry.